Okay, so we're back to recording. So if we go to the assignment, as I was saying, um, you have several options. You can uh, do steps 1 through 3 at the National Weather Service Skywarn Spotter Program. Then there's also the Memphis basic spotter training webinars. Now, these are actually live webinars. And so we're doing the one in Memphis because the Nashville basic trainings, there aren't any available right now. They were all in February. And so, but here in Memphis, between now and next week, if you can, this is a second option. Like I said, do one of these. The ones that I showed you first are self-paced. You can go in, do those whenever. These you actually have to be there. Obviously, there's one, I guess, tonight. There's one Monday. Of course, that's after the assignment is due, but I guess you really only have one shot, and that's tomorrow evening. No, wait. No, we meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So yeah, you could either do the one, you could also do the one on Monday. Sorry. So that's if you want to try that one to become certified. But again, just provide some evidence that you've completed the training. You might not get the certificate right away. Just be sure that you take screenshots of your progress as you complete the training. Sometimes you get the certificates right away, and sometimes you don't. It is what it is. I have no control over that. Now there's another. Now, if you want, after you do the basic training, this is optional. Now, Nashville, as you can see, has a schedule, but the only thing that's left are the advanced trainings. Now, I don't think that you have to wait to take the advanced training until after you take the basic training. It's best that you take the basic training at first. But as you can see, all the basic trainings in the Nashville weather service site are over with, but there's still an advanced one for March 6th and an advanced one for March 8th. Now, just because it says advanced, remember these trainings are for the general population. So remember the newspapers are written at an 8th grade reading level. You all are in college. So this might be advanced for someone who maybe has never been to college, but still wants to be a storm spotter. So don't be intimidated. If you want to go ahead and do the advanced training, go ahead and do it. I mean, even if you don't do the basic, I'm sure you can handle it, especially since you're taking this class. I mean, with the information that you learned thus far, you're probably advanced in it as it is. So if that's the only one you have time to do, the other ones don't fit your schedule, go ahead and do the advanced, get the advanced certificate. I'm assuming that you don't have to present a basic certificate as a prerequisite. I don't remember having to do that, but so that option is available to you. Same thing, provide evidence that you complete the class, screenshots, whatever. Somewhere at the end, they'll probably give you some kind of confirmation. But what used to happen, even when we did this live, the instructor would say, would say that he or she was going to send a link to the certificate, and we never got it. If after a day you don't get a certificate, email the instructor, because it's not, all they have to do is send you the link. You actually type your own name into the certificate, okay? From what I remember. So it's just a PDF or something like that you can edit yourself. So you have several opportunities to earn spotter training, and so that is a requirement. You have the Nashville self-paced. You have the Memphis webinars, live webinars. You have a live webinar um, at um, at the Nashville office. Then, of course, I want you to summarize what you've learned about storm spider training and tornado safety. And so you have the readings that come along. You have the reading assignment, so there are documents that come along with the reading assignment. You also have a lot of material here. So this week is Severe Weather Awareness Week. And so you have a wealth of information here you can pull from. Obviously, you should read this tornado safety and preparedness here. You probably should read about severe thunderstorms. Those are the two I would suggest in order to be prepared. If you want to throw in some information from flooding and flash floods, you should also obviously look at the important role of sky-warn spotters to see exactly what you're doing. And so all of those pieces of background information can be used to enhance your essay. Please cite all sources that you reference. Under content, there are lots of other resources here. You have, this is a really in-depth story about the tornado that struck Cookeville, Tennessee, which is the same tornado outbreak that occurred again on March 2nd and March 3rd last year. The reason it's called the March 2nd and 3rd tornadoes is because the tornado actually started around 11:30 at night on March 2nd, and then it continued into March 3rd. So it actually 2 days. I actually flew in to Nashville's airport on March 2nd. I probably landed about 10 o'clock that night. I didn't see anything really that unusual. I can't even remember. I can't even remember if it was raining. I don't remember. I think I would have remembered. Got home, everything seemed okay, and went to bed. I don't remember hearing any tornado sirens at all. I don't remember. I don't remember hearing the tornado sirens. And I can talk about those in a minute. Well, I'll talk about them now since I mentioned them. So what about the tornado siren? What's that about? Are they controlled by the National Weather Service? No. Each county or each municipality has control over whether or not to sound the tornado sirens. So it's necessarily based upon, doesn't come from the National Weather Service. This is somebody that works for Nashville's government or Murfreesboro's government or city of Memphis, whose job it is to decide whether or not to release the sirens. Now, at first, they were all the sirens would go off at the same time. So remember, tornadoes are very concentrated low pressure systems. One of the interesting facts about a tornado in terms of destruction is you can literally have a building here that is completely destroyed and a building right next to it that is literally untouched. That's how concentrated these storms are. I can give you a personal example. There's a restaurant in North Nashville called the Germantown Pub that I eat at all the time. And it's right across the street from the Monroe, I guess it's the Germantown Kroger right there at Rosa Parks in Monroe Street. And then there used to be, I think, an auto parts shop, almost Katie corner to the restaurant. And next door, there was a barber shop. And then there was an auto zone. The auto zone, the Kroger, all of those properties got hit. Now the Kroger obviously was damaged, but not to the point that it was blown away. The gas station at the Kroger, which is right across the street from the restaurant, was damaged. The auto parts shop that was Katie corner, I mean, literally right across the street from the restaurant, was completely blown away. The building next to it was completely blown away. The building across the street on Monroe from the restaurant was heavily damaged. There was a barber shop there that was gone. So I was watching the news thinking, oh my gosh, is the restaurant still there? I couldn't see. I mean, the news would never pan over to where the restaurant was. So I drove over there on Rosa Parks. Amazing. The only thing that happened to that restaurant was a little piece of the tarp was pulled up and they just came in and just snapped it closed, untouched amidst all that destruction. So given the focused path of destruction or limited area of destruction for these tornadoes, it's kind of unsettling when you have all of the tornado sirens go off, even though you're nowhere near the tornado, right? So people complained about that. They said, look, you're scaring me half to death, and I'm not in the path. I'm not even anywhere near the tornado. So like where I live in Nashville, I was 10 miles away from the tornado. So I think, I'm not sure, that there may have been an adjustment so that only the tornado sirens in the path of a tornado might have gone off. I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember hearing any tornado sirens go off that night. I didn't know anything had happened until I woke up at like 7 o'clock in the morning and I saw Dr. Glover on the news. And I didn't have the sound up. And usually if Dr. Glover's on the news at 7 o'clock in the morning, something's happening on campus, you all know what I mean. And when I turned the sound up, then I saw like, oh my gosh, a tornado came through. And so it did $20 million worth of damage to TSU's campus. Thankfully, it was spring break, so very few students were around. I've heard from students that were in the apartments that like saw the tornado go by. And if you've been on campus, you can still see the destruction. And so then it went through North Nashville and so on and so forth. So there's a series of stories, and I'm going to also add a couple of other things to this list, just a couple of graphics from last night's presentation. But you see you have a wealth of information, including tornado blind spot. I'm going to add the images from last night's presentation right after this, so you can take a look at those. Hopefully, I will get the recording of last night's presentation. I don't know if that'll be available. I've requested it. So you have lots of. Here's a link to Nashville. This is a really good story about the Nashville tornadoes from CNN. And of course, there's other things here. So feel your essay should be, detailed about whatever you've learned through this process. But what I mostly want to see is you focus upon what you learned via your training, but then of course you can add in references to some of the course materials that we have along with the course, especially tornadoes and tornado safety, so on and so forth. I think then of course you should upload the materials requested at 2 or 4, so those are both certification documents, screenshots, whatever that support that you completed the training. If there's any materials that were made available, you can upload those. And then, of course, your essay, you can type that right in the space below here if you want, and upload all this to the Dropbox. And after this, some of you or all of you will be storm spotters. And the way that the storm spotter program works is even if you are not in Nashville, you can still act as a storm spotter. no matter where you go. You just, now when you report, you do have to mention that I am a Nashville certified storm spotter, but I just happen to be in Atlanta and I see hail or I see a tornado on the ground and so on and so forth. So that is the assignment for this week. Also, do not forget, let me see if I put it up here. Yes, you have an article review due every week, so don't forget about those. And I will get this lecture recording up as soon as possible. If you have any questions, as usual, please ask. This isn't a complicated assignment, but it is somewhat. There's a lot to it that can be confusing. So just let me know as soon as possible if you have questions. What else? Also, yes, I will. I've put it on my to-do list to get caught up with grading this weekend. And so hopefully I will have everyone's grades up to date by Sunday. So that's my plan. Sorry for the delay in that. Does anyone have any questions at this time? Okay, so I'm going to stop recording.